Nerd on the Podcast is proudly partnered with Apogee Electronics and Odyssey Headphones, leaders in the field of audio.
You grew up with seasoning, Joshua.
Yes,
You did.
Yes, you did.
You probably made some good sweet tea in your house too, huh?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need, but you deserve, and where all levels of nerd are welcome. We have a fun episode today, so before we get into that, let's introduce the host. I am Josh.
My name is Tom.
And this episode is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation that is powered by Patreon. As a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get fun perks, like you get early access to these episodes. You get bonus episodes that nobody else hears. You get what we call the Nerd On Nudge on our other weekly show, the Nerd On Update, where we answer questions from the audience. And if you're a member of the Nerd On Nation, you get your questions put to the front of the line. So that's fun. And you also get access to secret channels on our Discord server that only you as a member have access to. So it's good stuff. So check that out, nerdon.tv/Patreon. And do know that as a member of the Nerd On Nation, you are helping us to create more content and be the best that we can be, and to get better, really, and to continue creating this content because we love doing it. And also check out that Discord, nerdon.tv/Discord. And a huge shout out, as always, to our partners, Apogee and Odyssey. Apogee have equipped us with these microphones. Honestly, it's the only way that we have been able to keep doing this. So a huge shout out to them because they are dope. Apogee is dope. It's really the best way to put it. Their products are always quality, and I've been using their products for a long time. And so the Hype mic, it's just a wonderful microphone to be used on anything from your Zoom calls to Twitch streams to this podcasting. And also Odyssey headphones. We are using their LCD ones. Incredibly comfortable for long periods of time. Listening to music sounds wonderful on them. I highly suggest them. So do check out Odyssey. And really, if you go to our website, there is a tab that is all of our partners that if you shop with them, you support us. A little bit of every transaction goes to us. It's things like Comixology. If you do read comics and would like a digital format, check out them. Avid Pro Tools. We use Avid to create this show. Blueberry. There's lots of really cool things, so check it out. It's on the partner page. But that is the housekeeping. Tom, what is this episode? What are we doing here? What's happening?
So we have a very fun episode in store for you listeners. This is the tail end of the year, but that doesn't exclude us from having some fun with other podcasters. And in particular, I am friends and acquaintances, longtime collaborative partners with one Dustin Baker. Him and I go back to our Pay the Bills job, and we've been just trying to get working on creative collaborations together. And it wasn't until about last year they decided to make a podcast. So his partner, ReSean, are the hosts of the podcast My Two Black Friends. And I started listening to it, as you do as a loyal and supportive friend of whoever's in your creative periphery or influence or sphere of social gatherings.
It's what you do.
Yeah. So I started listening, and I found I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was something that allows us, Nerd On, we are a large gamut of conversations, and art and media and pop culture span from the political and the social and the economic and religious stuff too. So as much as we have fun, I thought it was really cool to bring these guys in. So we're going to be talking to Dustin and ReSean from My Two Black Friends, and I hope everyone really enjoys it because we talk about the things that started their tree of nerddom. What is it like to be black and nerdy? What is that experience like, and how is that different than, maybe your experience, or how it's different from mine and Josh's? But then we also just talk a little bit about how their season 2 will be premiering on Black Friday. So
yeah,
I hope everyone
it's a fun
enjoys.
Conversation. Super fun. Very informative. Lots of
Yes,
laughs.
and you learn about how to get into cookout, and I want you guys all to enjoy that. So here they are.
Let's do it.
What's happening?
Yay! You better know our intro. Let's go. What's happening?
Yes, thank you, Dustin and Rashawn and Dustin, for taking some time to talk to two nerds. Can we be your two nerdy friends?
Yo, of course.
Absolutely.
You better
yeah.
believe we nerdy too. Don't let the swag fool you. Don't let it
Yes.
fool you.
For everyone listening, this collaboration has been a long time coming. I have recently just gotten the pleasure of meeting Rashawn digitally, although Dustin thinks there's a secret origin that we met, years ago.
Yeah.
And are these two podcasts are now having some fun. We're talking, and it's in celebration for your guys' season 2 coming out on Black Friday, which is
Yes.
exciting.
Yes.
Very, 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 very tact. Very, two black friends on Black Friday.
You know it's
That's right,
we
that's
just got to
right.
do it. It's the only way we know how to
Marketing.
do it is black and black and black. Marketing.
That was a 3-pointer in the market.
There it is. There it is.
Yes.
I know nothing about sports, so
Neither do we. But yes, Dustin and I have known each other for years now, and I remember when he was talking about making this podcast, and I didn't know what to expect from it. And when I started listening to it, I instantly became a fan.
Come on.
And I don't know if it's because it's the LA in me now, or that I'm not white and I'm not black, but I'm brown. And then all of the things that they talked about on their show were things that resonated with me, and I thought it was important, and it was fun. And I think that was a big thing to listen to, was talking about important, sometimes tough subject matters, but then having some levity to it, because sometimes the world does get tough to talk about things like that. But I do want to start this off very fun in a big fun way, because this is the Nerd On Show, and we do get to talk about the nerdy things that we don't normally get to nerd on about. So I want to talk about first, though. This is an interesting thing. We've talked about different levels of nerdiness and how we were growing up and being a nerdy, and now. You look at the film industry, you look at artworks and all, and everything that's going on. Even you see musicians using like album artworks in collaboration with comic book companies. Pop culture and nerdy stuff has become like the mainstream.
Yeah.
But I want to hear from you two. What has been kind of your upbringing with something that was seen as nerdy that you might have not been having to be comfortable with, or were you just comfortable with, like, Legos is my thing, or
Hell
cartoons
yeah.
are my thing. Let me hear about it.
Dang, I think for me, I love anime. I
Ooh.
love anime.
Put me on
currently-
some. Which
I'm
ones?
okay. So Naruto, my all-time favorite, hands
Okay.
down. I will watch that from start to finish over and over. I'm watching One Piece right now,
Ooh.
and it is fire. I'm like
It's a journey.
500 episodes in, and I'm like, I am whole heart and spirit committed to Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirate Gang. Like, I'm already on board.
500 episodes. Is that
Oh, and I'm
literal?
pretty sure I got like another 500. to
Yeah,
go.
it's like on
And
like
we in it.
900 episodes or something like that, and
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
series actually gets better as it gets further on.
It's incredible. It just gets better. There
That's
hasn't
that's
been
a
anything
commitment.
like a lull, nothing. It's just been so dope.
It's still going on.
Thank
That's
you.
how much
It
of
is
it's
a
Wait,
commitment.
it's still going. Oh, it's not finished. Oh,
not finished.
Yes, I'm so hyped because I was about to have a heart attack when I got to. I'm like 500. I got like 400 left, and then I'm gonna be messed up like Naruto.
500 episodes.
Just no loneliness.
I haven't experienced 500 episodes in my own life. That's a commitment.
Isn't 2020 like 100 episodes its own? Like,
Yo, 100 eepisodes of Black
Seriously.
Mirror. Okay, it is crazy.
Seriously.
But no, yeah, anime. I love comic books like Marvel. Always down. And one thing that I used to kind of hide, but now I just don't care. I love classical music and I love
Oh, yeah.
opera. It
Oh,
used to
yeah.
help me sleep. I have insomnia, so when I was younger, I would go to sleep to like some crazy opera or like some classical music, and it just does something to me, man. It makes me feel some type of way. So
I get it.
that's like, it's just my nerdy. Love to read. I love books. I love like science fiction. So I'm always diving in something.
Nice. Dustin?
Well, see, this is a hard question.
Dun,
for
dun,
me.
dun, dun.
Because I'm not really a gamer. I played Mario Kart a few times.
Not a few times. What?
And but what I will say, when I was growing up, I would fan over. Well, I was a big fan of R&B music growing up, and maybe that doesn't seem cool, but I was a fanatic. So
that's cool. On my side of the playground, that was like the cool kid stuff.
Yeah, that was cool kid.
I was obsessed when I was a kid, and I'm slightly still obsessed with Brandy. Like I knew Brandy's birthday. I taped episodes of Moesha. I would like record every performance she was on the Grammys.
You were standing before standing was a thing.
I was standing before standing was a thing. I had every magazine. Like if I saw a magazine she was in, if I had no money, somehow I would get that magazine. That's how much I was down for Brandy.
He said, "I'm gonna get that 5-finger magazine, okay?
Yeah.
Fresh off the truck."
But no, I think that was something that I kind of like held in because I didn't want people to know how crazy. Like that was something I was like, I had to like downplay it. If she was mentioned, I'd be like, oh yeah, she's cool. She's cool. Yeah.
I like a couple of songs. Yeah, it's cool.
And then they go to your room and there's a shrine in your closet.
It was that. So if that counts as nerdy, then I was definitely.
I think it does.
You got your nerd on about her. But I feel like you're bearing the lead a little bit because you and I have talked about several things. And the one thing that I've always been very like intrigued about you is that you love Superman.
I do.
Wait a second. I did not know this.
Ooh.
Yeah, I do.
What?
I do. I love Superman. And the thing is, like, I know it's like sexy to like Batman. Like, I know it's like.
Is it now?
I'm a Superman
with
guy,
2020?
so
Is it now?
Oh, well, see, you know what? It's just that like Batman, it was like, he's cool. Like he's something.
I'm edgy, dark.
I'm dark and not, but I love.
I'm rich. I get tax breaks.
Right.
Whooping ass and getting tax breaks. Like, okay.
But with Superman, it's resonated, maybe even being in my Black experience, like someone who is different, but is still trying to contribute, but doesn't belong. Like there's a very ambivalence. Like, do I belong? Like I want to belong sometimes, and then sometimes I don't. But I feel like I want to do the right thing. But sometimes people look at me like I'm the most horrible thing in the world, and it's like I love that situation with Superman. Man of Steel was dope to me. I wish it was a trilogy though.
Yes,
I wish we got more of that, like that time when he was just working as like in the bar, and like I feel like that we could have like had a movie there. Like that could have been a whole movie in itself. He deserved a trilogy just like everybody else. Like he like just catapulted him. But I did like the movie. Like I generally like Man of Steel. Maybe even better than Batman versus.
Oh, for sure. Hands down.
Yeah.
Rashawn don't hurt my feelings. Rashawn don't hurt my feelings.
It was alright, but I mean, DC need to take notes from Marvel because Marvel kind of gets.
Don't hurt my feelings. Don't hurt my feelings.
They slacking right now. They slacking.
It was amazing. Like the flashbacks in Man of Steel, like those transitions, like it was just really beautifully done.
Hold on, I'm gonna do this real quick, Rashawn, just because I feel like
Oh, I feel it in my spirit.
we're trying to get friendly, but also this is a friendly tap, real quick.
Let's go.
Gotta take some notes from Marvel. I mean, does Marvel have a superhero show with that features a Black cast for 4 seasons?
Now listen, are you talking about Titans right now?
I'm talking about Black Lightning.
Oh, well, first of all, shout out to Black Lightning, and I'm waiting on my casting call, agents.
And
number 2, you right though. You right. I will give you that.
Do they have an Emmy-winning series featuring a Black female lead?
They do not. And shout out to
the
Queen. Watchmen.
The Queen. That was amazing. Nah. So, I mean, I'm not saying that Marvel's perfect. I'm not the one that thinks just, Marvel got it all together, because they don't.
Can't they both exist and be and...
They can.
Oh, no, they can.
They can't.
They can.
We have to decide?
DC can learn more about how to write a script and get some story lineage happening, and Marvel can get some more Black people. You know what I'm saying? Like some more inclusion. So
That part.
there's a learning to be had on both sides because I love them both. DC, Marvel. I'm I'm no respecter of whichever, but they both.
That's the big fact is that you can
Yeah.
love both of them and then critique
Mhm.
them equally.
And I
You're like,
always
"Yo,
got notes.
Yeah, exactly.
Always.
You got notes.
Always got notes.
I do want to talk about something really interesting. Did you feel, and this is something like I feel like I've heard much more about in recent years,
Mhm.
in the Black community, is this kind of rise in confidence with being Black and accepting nerdiness in the
Mhm.
culture.
Mhm.
Where do you think that all came from, and what was your guys' experience with that?
I think, well, honestly, I mean, if we gonna keep it 100, the world has not allowed us to fully love ourselves, in particular Black people in America. We have never had an opportunity to fully love ourselves. We've been taught from 16, 19 that we were ugly, we were monsters, we were all of these things that we literally weren't. We were
Unprofessional.
just berated with things and we were taught to hate ourselves. So we are now 401 years later starting to step into the realization of who we are. We're starting to wake up. We're starting to see what our ancestors had to go through and that we're alive today and we're here for a reason and a purpose. And I mean, let's be 100. Don't nobody want to say it, but we weren't pop culture. Anything that's dope and it's hot, it comes from us. Clothing, music, it all derives from us. Look at the receipts. And the
Yeah,
real
look at the receipts.
the real receipts, not the ones that Mr.
Fabricated.
World be trying to like sprinkle out here. But it derives from us. So I think now we're seeing a generation who has the spirit of our ancestors, but now we have a fight and we have a knowledge and an understanding and a wisdom and an opportunity now to do a little bit more and to come into who we are. There's an awakening happening in our community, and we've got a long way to go for us. But as a whole, we're really starting to see our beauty. It's been way too long, and now that we recognize that we're not any of these things that we've been told for 400 years. Y'all about to see some real royalty popping around in these streets. Okay, get ready.
So my answer to that is not as eloquent. My answer is Childish Gambino. He is the reason.
Come on.
Not solely. He's not solely the reason, but I think the internet and like being able to access so much, it's kind of like how subculture groups have like a huge of a voice now because they're like, oh, someone in Wisconsin likes to do the same things that I do. Like they want to be a mascot on the weekends. That's something they do. Like, so nerdy Black people are like, oh, we exist and we're here. But then it's also become like they're getting famous now too. So like Childish Gambino is one of those like nerdy Black guys that are like, I don't really fit the mold that ReSean was referring to that America has displayed. This is Black people, you know? So even that has an effect on us because we are told this is all we are.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to be nerdy when you're white, but it's another thing to be nerdy when you're Black because you're like, oh, no one Black is nerdy.
And it's not cool.
Yeah.
Like for us
You
to
know?
be smart, it was considered, oh, you trying to be smart like a white boy. You trying to, oh, you sound white. Oh,
You're not Black enough.
No.
Right.
Exactly. And live that one, okay? I'm still living it in LA with these castings. Oh, you're not urban enough. I hate that word.
Oh, man.
Urban. I hate it. Just
And does it come from someone who's not Black?
Oh, you know what, dude? It comes from the Sallys and the Beckys and the Karens and the Keiths and the
and the Debbies.
and the
the
damn Debbies, the Deb.
And the Josh. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love you,
yes,
Josh.
all of them.
I'm kidding.
Don't you put me into a box.
It could be at the Toms. There might be a lot of Toms who are just.
I mean, I
Lots
wanted
of
to
those.
kind of a part of the conversation, the bigger picture. I mean, I don't know if we've had this conversation before, but I think like over the past 10 years, it's in general become kind of cool to be a nerd. You know what I mean? Like it's, and I think that like what you're saying, like kind of I don't know what the right words are. So there might be some education here. I apologize. But like a culture that has other things that they've had to, go through. And now there's this other identity because there's those stereotypes of cliches of a Black person of like, oh, they only do this. It's R&B, it's sports, it's this
It's
stuff.
ratchet.
Wait, they can be
it's all of it.
superheroes too?
Hmm.
They can be nerd? Wait, they can fucking love anime?
Mhm.
And I do have to tell you, most black people that I've met in my life love anime.
It's the drama. It's real. We feel that.
So there's something that I always really equated to that I loved about anime is that there is a sense of the main character typically in the animes that my black friends have liked and my two other black friends have liked now
Hey.
has been there is a sense of nothing stops the main character. Like the society is already against them, but then it's the drive and the conviction of the character saying like, I know what I'm worth.
Come on.
And I know what I'm going to get. And then they train harder than all the other side characters. You know, they're the ones that, you know, they have the montage and stuff like that, and they attain those things. But then, you know, every moment that the world has to break them down, put them on their knees, and they're bleeding from their mouths, and then they are able to, you know, bellow fire from their souls and say like what their truth is.
Yeah.
I think that is something that, at least for me, was able to connect with, you know, the black kids when I was in high school. And I'll say like this: I liked what Dustin was saying with Childish Gambino. I had a Childish Gambino friend, so he'd be the one next to me playing on the Game Boy on the bus. But then there would be like the Michael B. Jordan, who is like, I'm gonna make, you know, this Obey and Naruto collaboration clothing line. It was like he made nerdiness like kind of cool. Like, you know, he does it in a way and still gets
He
like
made nerdiness
play.
fancy.
And so that was a very interesting thing, and I felt like there was a shift of like all like there was awakening, or there was something where people were just like, or black people and nerdiness in particular, just in this conversation, said, no, I don't need to apologize for who I am, and this is what I like. That's what it's about. And you know, the video games came in and all that stuff, and it's just much more like you didn't have to hide it. And then
we're fighting it in two battles. Number one, in the world, because again, stereotypes, and we weren't allowed to be fully expressed in our intelligence, in our nerdiness, so
creativity,
to speak. All those things. We've always been kind of like locked into this is what you can only do. And then in our community as well, it was seen. I mean, you would get roasted if you were nerdy. I would have been roasted. Had my brothers back in the day called me, and I mean, and y'all probably know this from listening, but like, we love Beyonce. I'm a Destiny's Child fan to the day I die, and I would be in my room with my headphones on listening. I mean, like going hard to Destiny's Child. And whenever my brothers called me, I would get roasted because if I wasn't playing like anything kind of hood or like a throwback black thing, if I had anything on that end of the spectrum, it was like, nah, bro, you're getting roasted. And even like some rock, I used to sneak in a couple rock things here and there. But like, if you did not listen to just R&B or rap, gospel in that realm, anything outside of that, you would have got roasted. So I think it's now shifting to where we are finally just allowing us to just be great, just be you, love what you love. And now with social media, we're able to find, like Dustin said, a whole bunch of other black people who kind of like the things that we do. And it's not a small thing. I feel like more so than not, us as a people are nerdy. We think about everything. We are just as imaginative as a Keith and a Kyle. So, but now we have the ability to really dive into that and to publicly announce that and to like show the world that, oh, y'all thought we just were 1, 2, and 3, but no, we go all the way to infinity and beyond. So,
all right.
You know,
all right, Toy Story reference.
Let's go. Nerdy. Nerd on Toy Story.
I do want
okay, Buzz Lightyear.
I do want to talk about kind of also a shift within culture and media's representation of it too. In particular, you know, we talked about a couple right now, like Watchmen. I think it was very important. Lovecraft Country is currently, finished this year. Black Panther.
Come on.
You know, it's really important. I've actually had a very interesting kind of thought in my head, and it might be dangerous to think this way. But it's so interesting that it's such a phenomenal idea to have an ensemble of Black talent in these AAA high budget things, because as an industry and as a society, it's just seen as so like breathtaking. And I feel like it kind of almost reinforces this idea of like it's not a normal, it's not really seen as a normal thing where we should be moving towards normalcy, where like the saturation needs to happen, to me, I think, a little bit more fast. And I don't want to say where it like becomes like not special, because I think it is special, because like Black Panther, I think the film is not perfect, but the cultural impact that it had on the world is undeniable.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
The thing about it, like even when we talk about Lovecraft, I think those stories, the reason why they resonate is because often Black and brown stories haven't been told. So we've been in generations of TV, years and years and years and years of hearing all kinds of perspectives of a white story, which is fine. We're all entertained. Okay, good. But now when you get these other stories, like I thought Lovecraft was so amazing because it was taking real things that happened to Black people and then twisting it to sci-fi. So every episode was an historical event.
Yeah.
Like that happened to Black people. Like, and
I don't know why we're laughing. It's kind of terrible, but
no, it's real.
Yeah,
There's one particular episode where you're like,
They're like, this is the sundown towns, but throw some aliens. But throw some aliens in there. You know, like it's all those things really happen. And so there's a level of history that we haven't explored. Yeah, we've seen a few movies, but it's really an untold story. And Lovecraft, like even with the aliens and the magic, the white people are the scariest ones.
Okay. Can we talk about it?
They're still the scariest. So it's like, and that dynamic is new, and it's flipped because for years and years and years, Black people were always the enemy, always the villain, always the wrong person, always the scary boogeyman. And so to watch it play out like this in a time like we're in right now,
for real, like it was
a little bit more impactful, like it's more important, and I think it's giving voice or giving a platform and saying, hey, this works, and other races can start telling their stories without without fear that, oh, this won't work. Only Asian people will watch Asian movies. Obviously that's not the truth. Right? So it's like we're moving forward, but like you said, Tom, I think we need to speed it up.
Yeah. And going back to what you're saying, like the oversaturation, I don't think, and this could just be a bias because I'm Black and I think that, you know, we the best. But there's so many layers to the Black experience in the Black diaspora that even if America flipped and everything that we saw on TV was Black for the next 100 years, you wouldn't even scratch the surface to the magnitude of and the power of our stories, of what we go through as a people, and the beauty behind it. Because and Black people, we're just magical. There's something magical about us that we carry and inside of us, in our spirits, and in the way that we do everything. There's something so different. And I think you could go 100 years and you like I said, you wouldn't even scratch the surface of, oh wow, that's going on. And I think now that we have the opportunity to finally do this and to tell like Lovecraft Country, and I mean Watchmen, are you kidding me? That first episode when they
that was the craziest thing, where, you know, half the world, I would say not even half the world, like a good majority of the world did not know the events of Tulsa.
Oh, exactly. Had no idea.
And the wonderful thing that Lovecraft Country got to do was like, hey, like all other shows that talk about World War II, they don't have to say World War II, this is what happened. Like everyone just knows, like, okay, that's Nazi Germany, we know what happened.
Right.
Like now in the cultural zeitgeist, we get to see like, oh, people know what Tulsa means. Yeah. Like they know. Like the travesty that happened. So
and the truth, because a lot of it's been hidden and rewritten.
Right.
a lot of people didn't know, because a lot of white people don't want their history and what they have done to another people, because they don't want to
Right.
seem like the bad guy. They don't want to be painted as the bad
The
guy.
villain.
But
Do
there's
you,
a lot of things, a lot of history that has been covered and hidden and tried to but then all of a sudden you get a show like this, bam, we're gonna tell you what happened in Tulsa. Bam, we're gonna tell you what happened in Lovecraft. And it's just like, wait, that's real? Mm-hmm,
But not just do it in a way that's like kind of in your face. It's done in a beautiful way, like in a visually, acting wise, just the story of it. I mean, it's to give it in such a powerful way, in multiple folds of. There was so much about that show. We did an episode about it, and it was hard to finish the episode because you just want to continue talking about everything that's special about the show, and to be given a BT Dubs history lesson like in this way. I mean, I think that I've heard several conversations about Watchmen of like everybody was like, "Wait up, hold the phone, Google." Oh shit!
Yes.
That was,
and
probably,
there were hundreds. There were hundreds of Tulsas, and people don't know.
And I think, I don't know if you guys had listened to the Watchmen podcast, but the showrunner, Damon Lindelof, is a white guy.
Yeah.
And when he had learned about it, I think he had the exact same reaction that we're talking about, where like he's white and he finds himself like, I want to be an ally. He wants to be invited to your guys' cookout. And he was just like, he was embarrassed. He was just like, I can't believe, one, I didn't know this, and two, I'm someone that I like to think as who's progressive and wants to fight for people who have been, disenfranchised for generations and decades and deserve the time to shine. And he didn't know this, and so he, felt compelled, and not to take away from the writer room that he created that could not have been done without women voices and black voices. And it's just interesting, and I want to invoke a piece from your guys' show for our current audience, because My Two Black Friends, the show, does talk about a lot of these things, and it does have a lot of pride and passion into what you guys talk about. But this is not to say, all white people are bad.
No,
it's not
no,
to say.
no.
And I know you guys have to say that quite a lot.
Almost every damn episode. Just so that the medicine, the hard truths can be swallowed and taken and just settle onto our white audience's spirit without invoking that defensiveness, white fragility that no, this is what it is. And here's 13 receipts that you can go and look up and kind of see it and allow them to receive that and to just sit with that in a way that they can go, now what can I do with this information? Am I going to change? Am I going to use this for something, or am I going to stay the same?
Right. Because even in discussion, me and ReSean were talking about it. It's like we can kind of gain more patience in just talking to white people about hard subjects, and being patient with their fragility, because it's like finding out you're the villain in your own movie. Like that's what it's like when you find out, like, oh, we really did do this. Like nobody wants to be the villain in their own movie. So you fight against when somebody's trying to tell you, no, you're not the hero in your story. You're not. And then it's like, no, I am. Like nobody wants that. So I think that's gotten us that realization, is helped us have these conversations with more patience, because it's hard to take that truth,
Josh, you were going to say something?
I was actually going to ask a question of Dustin and ReSean. Do you feel like pop culture as it represents Black people over the past, I want to say it's probably the past 5 years, with things like Black Lightning, Black Panther, The Hate You Give, all of these things that we've gotten, what we were just talking about, Lovecraft, Watchmen, do you feel like they've helped?
Yes, I think so. Because it starts the conversation and it makes people go, wait, let me go Google this. Let me go check on this. It makes people want to go do their homework because it's so insane. It's so bizarre. It's so intense that you're like, no, this can't be real. And then you go, well, let me go look. And then you go, well, damn, it is.
Everything
And
I know is wrong.
Right? And it opens up the door to, I wonder what else I don't know. I wonder what else happened that I'm
Bigger
not aware of.
questions snowball.
Yeah. I wonder, I heard my black friend say this. And at first I'm like, no, it can't be that bad. But I wonder now. It makes people go, I wonder. The people who really want to know, who have that spirit of Google and just let me go figure out the truth for myself as opposed to just being spoon-fed what they've been told their entire lives.
Right. And on the flip side, it helps us be in full form as a people to see ourselves, that someone's already like me, like, or someone is a black person is a superhero, that we are strong. It helps the child, because I distinctly remember being a child, you know, and not seeing someone look like me in a positive light. It was like rough to find, you know. You'd have to make mental backflips to be like, oh yeah, me and Superman, and we're similar.
Man,
you know,
I'll say when that happened in Watchmen, I said this on our Watchmen episode, when that moment where Will Reeves asked the kid, like, what are you reading? It's like, oh, it's a comic book about a superhero who like is sent away from his home planet because it's destroyed and lives on another one, and it flashes back of Tulsa and how he escaped, and I screamed at the top of my lungs, like, oh my, like, I was just like, like the way they reframe that story, because in a fictional world, yeah, you can go to bed, num, it's fine, it's a fairy tale. But when you think of the experience of that relates to people that you walk among every day. And, you know, like and it's a funny thing I've been kind of tackling with like this whole year. Like I was a big Batman fan. And because of Watchmen, and then because of, you know, Zack Snyder's interpretation of Superman, like it's really gotten me to look at Superman differently, because he is the ultimate foreigner. He is the ultimate other, right? He walks among us. He'll do everything he can to embody the ideals that we find fit, but will never, ever truly be accepted by humanity. And everything they do is politicized, you know, like he can't save anyone. It's like, why don't you save that other person then? You know, it's like, it's tough. And I know like a lot of the things you guys talk about where in civil rights movements, like you can't run, can't breathe, can't do anything without some kind of target, some kind of attack. And it's like when a character transcends that thing, then it's like, holy crap. And I think on the flip side of that, you know, you got Black Panther, and like you got someone who is pretty much like, this is kind of like a pure, like an anime, like a power fantasy of like, this is what the culture could be left alone. And
it was untouched, it was uncolonized, and it gave us as a people like, dang, I wonder if we really could have been that. It gives us that opportunity. I remember going to the movies, I think 3 or 4 times, and I cried every single time. I felt like the 30-year-old me had the little 7-year-old ReSean sitting on my lap, and we were both just like in full conversation watching this movie go. And I'm like, yo, that's dope, right? And the little one's like, man, I can't believe this. Like, this is so dope. And just cried like a baby. And it really it was something that I didn't know that 30-year-old ReSean needed. The 7-year-old in me needed. And then when I watched it, I was like, dang, I didn't know that was an answered prayer that I've been praying since I was a kid. And here it is in my face. And it changed my life. It really did.
Are there like current nerdy or pop culture things that you're looking forward to? ReSean, you talked a little bit about One Piece, and you're going into that. Is there anything else outside of that? Like for me right now, I'm a little excited to see what Marvel does with Mahershala Ali and Blade.
Yeah,
I loved Wesley Snipes.
Me too. I'm kind of sad that he ain't gonna do it, but I kind of trust Mahershala. I trust him.
He's dope.
After Moonlight,
him.
Goodness.
I hope he's just in karate every day. I hope they are teaching him how to really put hands on people, because Wesley was popping folks left and right. He was laying people out. So I hope Mahershala got hands.
And he's got vampire vibes.
Yeah, and I mean, I have a friend,
Yeah.
shout out to RJ. He's half Asian, half black, and he always looks at me. He's like, Tom, I have all your powers, but none of your weaknesses. I'm like, all right, calm down, man. Calm down.
Shady.
But I love the dude. But I think there is, and again, this is something that happened, and I couldn't believe, but obviously it had to happen because it's Ryan Coogler, and him and I share a college, and he says, very simply, he makes films for his blackness, and I think that's something very powerful in that. But then what really is the Killmonger, right? Is the my ancestors knew better than to live by bondage. And that line somehow made it in the happiest media company in the world, right? And so if they could do it in Marvel and do it with Blade, I'm excited to see if they have this version of the character who is able to say, like, you're not human enough to hang out with us, and you're not vampire enough to hang out with us. So he has to live in that duality in a way where it's like, hopefully it has nuance. And I think there is something interesting. I was talking to one of my friends. He is a black filmmaker. His name's Max, and he was talking about, like, he's getting a little tired of seeing. He's have his own fatigue of seeing, like, the black struggle.
Oh.
Right? Like, have you seen, I don't know if you guys seen
One
Dope?
More Slave movie, and I'm going to set something on fire.
He's like, why can't it just be some, like, I don't know if you guys seen Dope. I love Dope.
It was amazing.
Dope is
I bought that movie.
It's pretty much a coming of age story of black kids in LA, and they got to try to make money. But there are powerful nuance in it. And I think that's the thing with the black story, is that you can have handfuls of nuance that all these other stories aren't going to have without having, your black characters disenfranchised.
Yeah.
Right.
I do think I like I said, I'm tired of seeing slave movies, but I do think on the same coin, we have to tell these stories because people don't know. They think that, slavery was 250 years ago. It's
they'll forget.
Over. It's kind of, it's not that. Like, no. You need to see what happened. So there's a part of the coin where these stories need to be told because we have to rewrite history. We have to start telling some truths that Mr. World has lied on for the past 400 years. But on the same side, there are so many beautiful, crazy good stories about black people that don't involve massa, don't involve being whipped, don't involve being chained, and or those things, because that's not all of us. That is not the basis of who we are. Is that where we come from? Yes, but like I said, there are so many flavors to the blackness. There are so many layers to it, and
we got romantic comedies in our stories.
Okay, there's so many good OG black romantic comedies that are a whole lot better than half of these goofy trifling ones that we see every 2 weeks. Here come the same story. The same damn
Here
drama.
go the bus. Here go the bus splashing the water on the girl.
Oh no, here comes we tired of it. We done seen it enough. We know what y'all gonna say. And there's so many amazing, beautiful rom-coms in our culture that just weren't even given a fair opportunity, weren't pushed, weren't given the right budget to make some real big noise. And I think now we're really starting to see that happen, and we're gonna see a whole lot more. And I really hope that it really kind of takes over.
It's that we need to stop. We need to pull the black off of those things. Like, it's just a romantic comedy.
Yeah, why does it have to be black?
Why is it a black it's a black rom? Like, once that happens, it's like, most people think it's not for me. It's for the black people.
Yeah, even if it's a whole cast of black people.
That way.
Yeah, even if it's a whole cast
we watch
of
all
black
movies.
People. Okay, we had to.
Pretty Woman.
Okay,
we seen it. Y'all can
know what y'all
watch. Watch Nia Long and Lorenz Tate.
Okay,
be in love.
Y'all can watch Love and Basketball and get your heartbeat going on. You know what I mean?
We can watch the Photograph.
Take the time. It'll bless you. It'll bless you.
You might get your word. It might help you in your raggedy relationship.
Oh, now.
Shoot.
You can do it.
So what are some things that you guys are looking forward to? Josh, you included.
Me included.
That in terms of like some things that we're seeing, I talked about Blade. I don't know if I took the best one, but
I'm excited to see what Beyonce gonna do, because she got 2 more films to do with Netflix, and she been quiet. I know she's been killing this. Yeah, she's got 2 more movie deals with Netflix, and then she gave us Black is King and just laid everybody out.
That was on Disney Plus.
She won 2020. But I'm
won
excited
the
to see
internet.
what she does. She did. I'm excited to see what she does with that because now she has stepped into a realm of her own, and she hasn't thought about sales, record labels, any of that crap for a long time. Now she's in the space of telling some Black stories and living in that realm and educating the childrens. So I'm excited to see what her next steps are because she just keeps getting better and more free and more blackety black. So I'm excited
And
to
then
see that.
And the power of a Black woman.
Oh,
Come on.
Okay, we need some more Olivia
Listen,
Popes out here.
We need
some
Olivia
more.
Pope. We need Viola Davis out here in these streets.
Okay, some more kings, some more. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for. Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. I'm excited just for that for now.
I'm gonna pull an Issa Rae and be like, I'm rooting for everybody Black. I'm rooting for everybody Black. Anything Black coming out, I'm supporting it. I want it to be good. You
Josh? Actually, one movie that I'm really, really excited about, and it hasn't, because I think it's nowhere close. Maybe it's going to happen next year. I hope so. But it's actually the movie Respect about Aretha Franklin.
Oh yeah,
with Jennifer Hudson.
yeah.
Like knowing that Aretha gave the sign off, like she wanted Jennifer Hudson to play her. Like I grew up on vinyl, and so.
Come on, old school. Come on.
But I'm not old. It's just my dad loved garage sales.
Come on.
Old soul.
Yeah.
Old soul.
So soul R&B, like I was born in the wrong decade. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. But I love Aretha. Like I can listen to her all the time, and I love soul R&B. So seeing a movie, and I'm a sucker for a biopic. Like I don't care. Like I just want to see it. Because there's always parts of the story that you don't know that it's just like I'm a sucker for it. So I mean it's hard to like right now that it's a hard time. It's hard to ask that question because you don't know what's gonna actually happen anytime soon. Like when people are like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? You're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Why are you asking riddles? Why are you asking me riddles out here?
I ain't got no answer. Just to rattle on top of my head, I'm excited for Spawn.
Oh yeah,
what's happening with Spawn?
So Todd McFarlane, the creator of Spawn, wrote a screenplay for it, and he's been pitching it.
The
and
Todd
cast
father.
he wants Jamie Foxx to play it. And Jamie
That would
Foxx
be
is older than Michael Jai White when he first played it, which is
It
interesting.
don't matter. Black don't crack.
Yeah, he looked like he 27 anyway, so he
It'll
cool.
work.
He's still
It'll
buff. He
work.
got this.
And it's going to be a little bit more horror-like, which I'm just like, cool. Like, to me, Jordan Peele, I know he's kind of like edged out the competition of like, I am the black horror, like I am also comedy at the same time. But if Jamie Foxx could kind of help usher that in where it's like, okay, cool, we can get some more of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like also, Yahya Abdul Mateen II being Candyman.
I forgot about that.
Yo, there's a new one on Netflix that is super creepy. His house.
His house?
I don't know about that. Mm-mm.
Yo, it's the female lead is your girl from Lovecraft, the sister.
Oh,
Okay.
Journey Smoke. Oh, Lord,
No.
have mercy.
Not Journey, the sister of Journey.
Oh, I love her too.
She was
She's
great. She was phenomenal.
fantastic.
Awesome. So she's the main lead.
Come
and
on,
there's a man
Chocolate
in this
Queen.
house. It's on Netflix, y'all, and it's so scary. I'm like, I can't. I want to support.
I'm unable
Is
to
it like
can.
demons and stuff?
don't
It's like demon
know.
scary.
The house is haunted.
Ooh, see.
Like,
Now
they get-
Lovecraft, I was okay with because it wasn't all the way there. But me and demons, we don't welcome them around these parts. So,
With the
No,
episode with the two
Black
little
people don't mess
girls.
with the devil.
oh, the one with the
Like
two
the
little girls.
That scared. I was like,
said-
I literally, I was like,
See,
I was watching it as I was going to bed. And I was like, no, I'm done. I'll go to
I
bed.
can't watch this at
analogy
night.
is deep though. That
Come on.
analogy is deep though.
Break it
That-
down. Break it down. What is that?
So, okay, if you're watching that episode of Lovecraft,
Spoilers,
It's like-
everyone.
spoiler.
Educate.
Okay, so there's these two. The young girl sees a book in the bathroom, and it's like one of those like Uncle Tom books, and the black girl is like really raggedy, has really nappy hair, looks horrible, and then there's this like sweet looking, precious moments white person that looks beautiful, and the black person, and it's kind of like that's how they depict us, and that's how they wanted the world to see us. So when you watch that episode and that image kind of comes to life as these scary Black twins with girls with black nappy hair that twist
Big lips,
and contort, and they look horrible and nasty and disgusting. It's how the world has projected us to feel and look and to be to everybody else. So as they're coming closer, it's like, I'm gonna become that because the world sees me as that. You know? So it's a huge fear. It's because like she is not, obviously she's a beautiful girl who knows art, all that, but society reduces her down to that image, that scary monster of a Black girl.
That just shut up and dances.
And it goes all the way back to minstrel shows, like when they would put tar on their face and make their lips all big and red, and it goes. I mean, it's just heavy. That Caucasian spirit is heavy, and
it was. We had to rebuke it.
That's wild. Also, I'm excited for Static Shock. That's a movie that's already planned. So I'm like,
when I say I wanted to be him, I wanted somebody to call me and be like, "Yo, ReSean, can you be Static?" I'm like, I'm already at the door. My bags are packed. I was already ready. He had so much swag. He was so cool. Like, I feel like that was me. If I could have been any little superhero, I would have been Static Shock for sure.
Yeah.
They're gonna call you to be Spike Lee for a biopic.
Listen, let me tell you, because every time I'm in the airport and I got on a hat and I wear my glasses, I kid you not, y'all. I do not make this up. They're like, are you? I'm like, no, I'm not Spike Lee. They go, oh, that's what I thought. I'm like, really though? Really?
When ReSean has his glasses and that,
it kind of hits. It kind of hits, especially when the hat low. Anytime I go overseas, when I'm flying and I'm going international, I always get that double take. I'm like, yeah.
I see it in the logo. I see it in the logo.
Yeah. Kind of, right?
I mean, for me, when I see that happen and like, you know, brown people, right? You know, people say
they always say we all look alike.
And so for me, I'm like, no, I'm the other Asian guy. It's like what happened with Samuel Jackson, and they were saying, you know, someone was interviewing him, and they were thinking that he was another actor. He's like, no, I'm the other Black guy. I'm like, oh my, it's like that kind of stuff. Like on a professional level, like that's ridiculous. But on a personal level, it's like, you know, it's okay to do the double take. Hey,
am I gonna get through this line free? Am I gonna get some free food? Because I will play the part. I'm ready.
I want to turn the table about my two Black friends. So you got season 2 coming up. It's really exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's hard. I mean, we've been doing this show weekly for 3.5 years, and it ain't easy. No, and I know you guys, we don't do that much editing, but you guys put some sound effects, go, and I'm like, I hear the ding, I'm like, oh my goodness.
The church organ, all of it. Yeah. That's like our little Holy Spirit in the background giving us the amens every time we say something.
Yeah.
And that's like a whole nother character for us. Like, it's my two Black friends, but that is like a third character in our show.
So what did the idea, the inception for this show come from?
Dang. I mean, no, you go for it. You go for it.
I distinctly remember one time, I don't know if this was the catalyst, but me and ReSean were invited. We were invited to a baseball game, a Dodgers game. And so obviously with our friends, I don't know how it happened, but when me and him migrated to California, we had a whole bunch of white friends and we were the two Black people. Don't know how that happened, but it happened. So we're going with these people to the Dodgers game, and me and ReSean had never been to one.
Never been to a professional baseball game in our lives.
So our commentary, really, like our commentary had people just cracking up. Like we were just watching the things that happened, just doing us and making everything fun as Black people do. We got to do it. We got to make it the best experience possible. And I think after that. And then we started telling the story of what happened at the Dodgers game.
Oh, we were at Zan's birthday party. We were at a friend of ours' birthday party. And we were telling one of the this girl who works there for the Dodgers gave us a couple free tickets. So we were like, "Oh, how was it?" And we sat down and we told her the story of what happened. And I mean, like, we were screaming at this party for an hour and a half, crying.
And by the time we ended it, there was a crowd of people just listening to us tell the story
yeah.
about.
You did your first live
Like-
show.
Yeah, and we had no idea. We had no idea that people were coming to watch. Like we were literally, it was just me, Dustin, and like 4 or 5 other people just talking. And we look around. I'm like, there are 45 people over here crying, watching us. Like, and we were dying laughing, like screaming. And after that, they're like, you guys should like have a podcast about this. So like film you guys talk about this story. And then we were like, oh, okay. I don't know how we'll do that, but all right. And then we just kept hearing it anytime Dustin and I would hang out, and like we vibe, we are in sync on a mental and spiritual level. Like we'll say the same thing, or we'll see each other from across the room and won't have to say anything, and we'll just cry laughing because we know what each other gonna say. And everyone always said that, like, you two together, y'all need a show, y'all need your own TV show, you need this. And we just kept hearing it, and it was kind of like confirmation. Like God was kind of like, hey, I think y'all should do this. And we sat down one day and we talked about it. And we were like, we don't know how we're going to do it, but let's just see. And we did it. And here we are. Season 2.
Season 2. We can thank the Dodgers.
Yes. Thank you, LA Dodgers. And we want some more free tickets and more free merch.
Sponsored, not sponsored yet.
Okay.
I want to ask a couple of questions to kind of like get people to an idea of what the show has and what's in store. You kind of already answered it, but I was going to be like, so what is the most common thing you guys normally talk about on the show, and why is it Beyonce?
I mean, she is the epitome of a strong, beautiful Black woman who is just completely and totally her and in her, with no apologies, with no I'm going to tone down to make you feel comfortable. She's just her, and she's excellence. She's excellent. She's not perfect by any means, but she's excellent. Everything she does, she exudes excellence. She strives to be the very best that she can be in that. And just musically, can we talk about the vocals? Like, she's second to very few. Her performance quality, ain't nobody out right now who can outperform Beyonce. I don't care what you say.
And if they're not pregnant.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Listen, let's make it easy. She is the most relevant person alive.
She is your favorite celebrity's favorite celebrity. When she walks in the room, the celebrities stand up and say, "Oh, she's here." Like,
put it like this:
bam.
Michael Jackson changed things when he did the Moonwalk and Thriller album. When Beyonce dropped the Beyonce album, she changed the record industry from that point on.
She's just
like, no one can. You don't have to promote. She's like, I'm a bet on me. Everybody's used to promoting and us paying the record label to promote our stuff, to take money from us. She's like, I'm a bet on me, and I'm just gonna drop this, and I ain't gonna pay none of y'all nothing. And they're gonna.
And she broke iTunes, and bam! Now every artist drops their stuff. So she's a trendsetter. She is excellent. She's Black excellence. She's beyond being beautiful. Just internally, her work ethic. No one outworks Beyonce. And no one just holds it down. She just holds it down. And so we're just attracted to her.
We say all this and still didn't get an Ivy Park box.
Still didn't get an Ivy Park box.
I was going to say, they should be sending you some checks, because I feel like y'all have been doing some PR work for free.
We do it for free, but she can bless us with a box. You know what I'm saying?
But she just happens to come up because she is just like all the things that ReSean said.
Yeah.
Like, she's just really good at what she does. And we are some people who strive to be
excellent.
I'll be honest. I will say, like, I was in a fraternity, and I have a bunch of gay friends, and they love Beyonce. And for me, it became to the point where I was just kind of like, I'm over it. And then listening to this show, I was just like, you know what? Mad respect. I don't even have to like her, but I have to respect and recognize, again, the cultural and the professional implications.
Thank you for saying that.
And so, like, you don't have to like her. You don't have to.
No,
but
you don't
gotta know.
have to like her.
But you gotta know.
will respect her game.
Yeah, you have to know what you're talking about.
You can't say she can't dance. You can't say she can't perform. You can't say that everything she puts out is quality work, whether it's your taste or not. You just can't. And if you do, you're a hater, and you need to go take a nap. Period.
Yep.
So that's why she always comes up. And I mean, like, I'm a singer, dancer, performer, on all these other things.
I try to sing, I try to dance, I try to perform.
So it's just in our world. So yeah, that's why she always comes up. Beyonce.
But But mostly we talk about other stuff. But she comes up often.
Real quick, when did you discover Beyonce?
When did I discover Beyonce? I mean, she's been
When did
around
you get the
since-
Beyonce?
My
What's your Beyonce story?
I
Let's
like
think
that.
of it.
Beyonce.
I mean, for me, it's since Destiny's Child. My sister. I've lived away from my older sister for pretty much my whole life, but for a year of my life, she lived with me, and she loved R&B, and Destiny's Child was in there, and then when it became like it was the Beyonce, like she was everywhere. I mean,
She is
as a
everywhere.
musician myself, and
Come
as
on.
somebody who I like to think that I have a strong work ethic, I am completely just. It's somebody like The Rock, who just
Yeah.
like their
Kevin Hart.
fucking work ethic. You're just like, I thought
Right.
I had a strong work ethic, but
Okay.
I'm living in a cave. Like,
I don't know
Taking
if they
3
like
hours of
sleep.
sleep, changing the world.
yeah,
For real.
Like I like sleep, and I heard that
They
The
don't
Rock
have to
wakes
live
up
with
at
it
3
sometimes.
a.m. or something. So,
You know, Josh, your parents seasoned your food when you was growing up, huh? They used more than salt and pepper, didn't they? You had some paprika and some Kanye pepper and stuff,
I mean,
huh?
Beyonce for me I do like her music. I do love listening to her voice. And just watching her perform, that's the other thing. As somebody who is a performer, I went to college for theater, like watching somebody perform, like,
Yeah.
I'm just like,
You can feel that. You
Yeah.
can feel it.
Yeah,
it's real.
yeah,
it's a real thing.
It's not just a performance. It's an experience that you're
Yes.
Very
Come on, you did. You grew up
did
with
your homework.
seasoning, Joshua.
Yes,
You did.
Yes, you did.
You probably made some good sweet tea in your house too, huh? Your Kool-Aid probably
That
is
Kool-Aid
bomb.
had a little bit of
Okay?
lemon juice in that Kool-Aid.
Okay,
too.
and a
Maybe.
dash of Sprite.
maybe
Come on.
maybe some vodka.
Hey, okay. Yeah.
No, so yeah, she's just a performer that's not just a performer, just not just a performer, not just an
Come on.
artist, just
Come on.
does
Come on.
so much that you can't. I mean, if you don't respect her, get out.
Yeah, you really don't know what you're talking about. If you can't
Right.
respect what she does, who she is, I don't even trust you to tell me what time it is
Right.
on your iPhone.
Right.
don't.
Because that gets
What
into
year is
another
this?
thing.
I
'cause
don't care.
I don't care. I don't care.
It's a pet peeve of mine. Like, for instance, I know Ariana Grande sings very well. I think she's an incredible singer. Do I go to her music? Not particularly. Like her, just whatever. But I know she's a beast singer. Like, I know that she is fantastic. And I could never say that she's not a great musician. But I don't have to knock her down because I don't particularly resonate with. Now, granted, there's a few songs that I do like, but you know how people love Ariana. I'm just not one of those fans on that level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just, when people or Celine Dion, I don't listen to anything Celine Dion, but I know the girl can sing.
Yeah, she
I know
will
the
sing.
woman
She
can
will sing you
sing.
down.
really
Anytime I hear it,
unfortunate.
I'm like,
No,
oh,
just
we
kidding.
about to go. We about to go somewhere. She about to take us on a journey.
Yeah. So it's like, why can't people just respect? You don't have to tear down someone
'Cause they ain't game.
You ain't gotta be a hater
No.
every day. You bitter. You ain't sleeping
Yeah.
that
Can't
night.
that,
Get up and do
can't that be
something.
about everything? Like, that's the thing that I'm like in my life. I'm just
Real
like,
talk though.
Can
And
we
it-
just like things?
I
Can
think
we
know?
just respect things?
that's
you know?
seated in a lot of, I think, American culture. And not, and I just mean Americans. Like, we love to talk down about something in order to
Yep.
make something else sound better.
Because it's
Right.
full of insecurity.
Exactly.
America is
Thank you. I was
insecure.
just gonna say that.
I mean, look at what's happening
Makes
right
me feel
now.
good about myself to tear you down. So
Okay.
Or being like, that's overrated and my thing is the thing that should be talked about. It's like, how about you talk about your thing you like and then you understand my thing and I'll understand your thing. You know, understand
it
before
pushing.
being understood.
Yep.
I do want to talk about a couple things as well on the show. What is the caucasity?
Would you like to take this? You
And
might say
again,
it.
I'm
we
gonna
have
start it off.
we
Rashawn, you finish it.
this is not an attack. I think that's the big thing that you guys have to talk. Like, again, sadly, we have to keep talking about that. Where it's like, hey, we're just talking about the thing.
Yeah.
Just don't think of it
Listen,
defensive. So, what is the caucasity?
You might be Caucasian, but you don't have to live with a Caucasian spirit.
Okay.
You don't have to have the caucasity to act like you're the only person that matters in the room.
Come on.
So the caucasity as a segment on My Two Black Friends is a discussion on how people in different situations has come up. And honestly, the content just shows up at our door. We don't even have to really think hard because there's going to be something on Instagram, something on TikTok where somebody has a Caucasian moment. And we just take that moment and we break it down so people can know and utterly know how bad it was and how you can learn from it and how you can change and how, like, oh, if you have stepped in this zone that you might want to retreat, you know, like this is not a good look. This ain't it.
Yeah.
So that's what the caucasity is.
It's educational. We take historical things that have happened that aren't mainstream taught, that hasn't been taught in school when we grow up and we hear about the forefathers and then we get 2 chapters about slavery and then we keep pushing. Like we talk about the heavy things like, oh, why are black people 13% of the population, but then we the most in jail? Why are we killed more and all these other things? So we go back and we give you the real history, the root of the problems, where they come from, and how we have been fighting for change, why we're trying to fight for change. And also we really dive into racism. We show what is racism, what does it look like in redlining, how racism affected where black people lived, how it affected how black people get jobs, how we're seen. We talk about that racist or that Caucasian spirit, that caucasity, that's the spirit we're talking about, racism and hatred. And we break that down and we show you why it's wrong, and then we give you tools and an opportunity to dive into yourself as a white person to act. And it also goes for not just for white people, because there are a lot of other brown people who don't like black people either.
Big facts.
But it boils from white people telling them that we are the worst. A, B, C, D, and E. So it all stems from that. So we call it the caucasity because we mostly deal with it from white people. But we break it down in sense education. We break it down and we show why. We explain to you from a black perspective why it's hurtful, why it's wrong, why it's this. And we give you an opportunity to go call to action. Now, what are you going to do? Now that you know this, now that you have the receipts, and we always go, hey, you go do your homework for yourself. We check our sources. We make sure that what we're saying is factual and we're right. But we are not the Black Caucus. We don't speak for all black people. So we have 2 different perspectives, but we say, go research, go ask, go look. And then once you get this information, now you are held accountable to do something about it.
Right.
Now I'm going to hold you accountable to change and to be better, or you can choose to just willfully be ignorant. And then we're going to have a problem. The caucasity is to go, we're going to help you so we don't have a problem. And then we just leave it into the listener's hand and the viewer's hands and ears and hearts and minds and spirits to hear our hearts and minds and spirits and our experiences and go, here's how you can not be racist, how you can watch your little racist moments and all these things, and then how you can be an ally, how you can help your black friends in the doors and in the spaces where we're not allowed, where we don't have power. So
and
that's
I feel like
what it is.
Yeah, I feel like that helps because often when you're having a conversation, like that fragility, that white fragility makes you speak when you should just be listening.
Yeah.
And so when you're in a podcast, you're like forced to listen. And I imagine if you're white or you're Caucasian and you feel like you want to respond and you can't because you're listening to a podcast. So now you have to listen to the whole thing from point A to point Z and then be like, oh, because often that interjection stops you from getting the point that was coming.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because now we got to break down just your deflection. We have to break that down, and we ain't got time
for your turn to speak.
Exactly. Right. So it's school. It really is school. It's like, hey, right, friends, we love y'all. We know that all of y'all ain't racist, but most of y'all might be in some way, shape, or form. So we have to break down the little things. The little things that you wouldn't think would be an aggression, like the microaggressions, because you don't have to be, oh, I'm the KKK and that.
You don't
still have racial tendencies. You can still have racist moments in them, but you don't know that because number one, a lot of white people have not been growing around black people, so they don't know. Number two, they only know what they've been taught. They have no experience. So now we're going to bring that information to you and allow you to go, talk to you and the inner dialogues, and that way you can see yourself like a mirror to see,
Right.
oh, do I do that? Have I done that? And then you can go, oh, now I can fix that. Now I know why, because it's just a lack of understanding for some. Other folks just want to be racist. They just want to be mean and ignorant and just want to act an ass, which we've seen. I mean, Trump has just awakened all of them back on up. But yeah.
It's you don't have to say the N-word to be racist. And
No.
I think that's the big deal. It's the minutia. It's the
Mhm.
holding into your bag a little harder when, you see a black person, or
Happened to
speaking
me.
a little quieter because you might be saying something. It's like, well, why are you talking about that? I
Mhm.
think Dave Chappelle had a funny thing with his SNL monologue where he's like, all I keep hearing is the N-word. It's like, is it coming from me or is it coming from you? And like those are two
Okay.
big things. And it all kind of comes down to
Mhm.
like just a them versus us mentality instead of a
Mhm.
we thing.
Yeah.
And I think what I really like is that there's it's my two black friends. So just within its own subtext, we're talking with two black friends.
Yeah.
And we're trying to have this conversation being like, maybe I should listen to a different perspective, because maybe sometimes the things that I think about are will manifest themselves if they go unfettered for such a long time.
Yeah.
And I it's interesting, and and also I think that there's a big importance of like there should be no room for supremacy. There should
Like
be
none, zero,
like
zilch,
it's
not
all,
an inch.
like no Asian supremacy and all that stuff.
Nope.
Like there's no room for any of it. It has to be an equality kind of thing. And
Yeah.
Right.
the more we can normally talk about these things, and I think that's what great the podcast has to offer is that you have long form content.
Yeah.
So
So,
I do want yes, Josh.
You're leading us, so I don't know where you want because
Well,
I was going to ask for information so everybody knows.
Oh, two
like-
more things real quick. One fun thing I thought would be fun to just get Josh also in the conversation more is what has been some difficult things that you guys have learned and discovered making a podcast?
As far as like just the podcast experience,
Both. Let's just open it up a little bit.
I mean, the amount of time it takes to do this stuff is like
Thank you.
kind of nuts, especially when you want to do it in excellence. You don't just want to put up crappy stuff. You want it to sound good. You want to make sure that when you play it back, because you can't see us, because Dustin and I are super animated in person and in the flesh. So it's like, how do we translate who we are when you see us? Because that's a part of us into how you hear it. So it's trying to translate that into that. And just, it takes a long time to get that. And it's a lot of hard work. And I mean, Dustin and I, like, our lives are already crazy. I mean, Dustin can literally be on the flight in 2.5 seconds. And I mean, I was in Vegas with Shania dancing on there and then jumping in the hotel, and we're planning episodes at midnight. And then I'm up all night editing and doing all these things. So it's a lot of hard work, but the end result, like all of it, it all counts. Like when we get to submit everything and everything's out there and we're here, people listening. And then when we hear it, it's like, yo, I didn't sleep for 15 hours because we did that audio and that video, but it looks dope. It sounds good. And people are like, they're vibing to it. And like, we're getting really great responses and reviews and stuff. So it makes it worth it. But I mean, it's hard as hell. I'll be tired. I'll be
It's hard.
tired.
Hard to coordinate when you got people like, you guys know, I mean, when speaking to the choir, but it's like two people who are active in LA doing things, like doing things in LA, trying to, make it happen. So, and then full-time jobs and then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's
our own personal projects, like so many things involved. And then you go, okay, my two black friends. Here we go.
And the podcast is literally just 10% of it, the actual making of the podcast.
Literally.
Everything else is like, okay, promotion, advertisement, editing, like logistics, when are we meetings, calendars, all the stuff that you have to like get straight before you start. It's like, It's huge. So it is a lot of work. It's time consuming.
Yeah. And I think the other hard about, it was hard, I think, when we first thought about it. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I ain't got time to worry about anybody else's feelings. But at first we were like, how real can we be?
Yeah, we were.
Even like me and Dustin are like, we real when we wake up and when we go to sleep. And on this podcast, we keep it 100. Like we will say what needs to be said and what jumps out of our spirit. But there have been times we had to go, oh, the world ain't ready for that real, because there's another level to the realness of the Caucasity and real friend moment, which is the second part of our show, where we go, oh, you know, like it's right, it's true, we didn't say anything wrong, but we know that the world isn't ready to hear that realness. So there was a moment where we had to go, well, how real do we be? Where do we sprinkle the sugar on top of the truth?
Right.
And so there's a moment where we had to go, do we kind of pull it back? And then we were like, you know what? No, because people are drawn to us, and they were drawn to us when we were telling that story about the baseball game, because we were who we were. We didn't hide anything. We don't hide our imperfections. We don't hide.
We're not perfect.
We're not afraid to be wrong. We're not afraid to make mistakes. We're not afraid to be vulnerable and honest on hard things. So once we got over that initial, are we going to offend people? Someone's going to be offended that regardless. You offended that my hair's curly, and you know what I mean? Like someone's going to have a problem with something, and just now we are older.
White people offended that we black.
Okay, can we just start there? So once we got over the fact that we're just like, you know what? Someone's going to be mad about something. So let's just be us, and the real ones, the people who need to hear what we have to say, will come and hear it, because we know we're not for everybody. Exactly. We're not for everyone, and everyone's not for us. So come on, Reasons and Seasons. You better know episode 4.
Yeah. But Josh, is there, I mean, you know, we have had a lot of growing in the podcast world of like scheduling and, you know, getting time together. And to pull the veil back a little bit,
Go ahead,
I
Josh.
am what is
Josh,
known as, I am the president of Nerd On. The other crew, they voted me as the leader. And he loves to mention it. He loves
honestly, it's
Go ahead.
it has to do with I've been podcasting since 2010.
Come on.
And I have a lot of experience with producing podcasts, but you know, I also have like theater producing, and I produce my own album, and I have that experience.
Come on, album. I need to get this album.
But you know, what you were just saying of like, it takes a lot of time. It does, because we could produce crap.
Yeah.
We could. Anybody can. We could just like record it and release it. It does happen. People be like, okay, slap on the theme song, done. And now I'm not saying that we are not an NPR. We don't edit out ums and uhs and Ks, and like we don't.
Yeah, we don't either.
we don't, and we've actually had listeners reach out and say that they appreciate that, because it could take a lot longer, and we would not be releasing 2 episodes a week, sometimes 3 or 4. You know, it's,
what? I did not know y'all did that many. Oh, hell no!
we're crazy. We're crazy.
You got that right.
So when I pop off, when people are answering my emails or my messages in our communication, there's a reason.
Okay, because we got stuff to get out here in these streets.
We got stuff to do.
Okay.
I'm tired for y'all.
Okay.
I'm tired.
We already tired on one of
Why do you think I got this
this
quarantine drip going on, man? My hair ain't normally like this.
But here's the thing, real talk. I love it. I love what we do. We as a group, there's 5 of us. By extension, there's 12 of us, because we have another podcast. We have a video editor. We have somebody who writes some articles for us and does some back end stuff here and there. We have grown a lot as a team, and I think that the hardest and best times of that process have been the really hard conversations.
Yeah.
Like I really don't like that you did that.
Yeah.
You know, and you were talking about how real to be. There's been times because pop culture, nerd culture is a very sensitive world to be in because I have things that, pardon me, but don't fuck with it. Don't just come in here and pop off about it and want to say bad things about it because it's a safety net for me.
There's a lot of like anime snobs who'd be like, "Oh, Naruto is not as good as Dragon Ball Z." All right, guys, come on. Can we all just get along? Please?
Take a nap. Go.
So you're saying that's like for y'all, like how I feel about Brandy's vocals and Monica's vocals.
Oh,
so that's what
all day.
I got it.
We will go to war.
I get it.
Understood.
I get it.
Translated. Translated.
I got
it. Computed. Got it.
I
get
do
that
want
reference.
I want to round out the last question in particular, and we'll make this a short one so we don't get too long in the teeth. ReSean, Dustin, what can we, so me, Tom, and Josh, and all the other listeners, what can we do to be invited to the cookout?
Woo! First, you go listen to our show.
Okay. That's a start. You can listen behind the fence first because we got to check your credentials. We got to check
provide receipts.
And provide receipts. And yes, honestly, I think to be invited to the cookout, you have to just be willing to listen and to be willing to be wrong, to be willing to let go of what you've always known to be right. You have to be willing to humble yourself and to be the bad guy. And I think, and beyond that, I think the bottom line is just you have to be humble enough. You have to want to be there, and being there means you have to listen. You have to listen to our hearts. You have to listen to the hard things. You have to take it. And you have to ask the questions, and don't be afraid to ask the questions. Well, I don't know if this question is racist. Just ask the damn question, and then we will help you and guide you along the way. But you have to be open, and you have to be in a spirit of how do we become one? What do I do with, and just growth. You have to be a human, a person of humility and honor and honesty and vulnerability. That's it. That's half the battle. We can get you on your swag. We can help you. We can get you to go play a swag when you leave, and we'll give you a little to go box. But if you can't come in a space of humility and willingness and empathy, which I'm learning that a lot of people don't know how to operate in, because if it doesn't look like you apparently can't feel some type of way. Oh, okay. And we don't want your sympathy. We want empathy and real
different
human understanding beyond black and white, beyond the race. We are human beings.
Right.
And if you see a human being being shot for no reason, being a knee to the neck, and you're watching this human being die, as a human, you don't have an issue with a human dying like that. You don't have an issue with a human doing that to someone. And that is... You have to be human. And that's how you get invited to the cookout. For me.
Everything that ReSean said, plus don't bring no egg salad with raisins in it.
Yes, we will tell you what to bring when you get here. Don't bring no potato salad. We don't want your grandma's green bean casserole. Because we don't trust everybody when they cook. Because if you got cats... do you wash your chicken?
And stuff. People be putting raisins. I'm sorry.
Your cousins put raisins. Your cousins put raisins in there.
And anything that y'all put raisins in mac and cheese. You
can't put Brussels sprouts and crunchy crumbs on top of macaroni and cheese. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, your cousins be doing some wild stuff. I know that didn't happen in your house because you grew up with a wreath and all that. So I can feel it in the spirit over here.
I have no words.
Me either. I'm like, what? I be watching these cooking shows. I'm like, this is who y'all thinking? This?
Listen,
you didn't even watch that chicken.
They didn't wash the chicken. They didn't wash the turkey. Listen, and then they stuffed the turkey with. I seen them stuff a turkey with candy yams and marshmallows.
But they didn't know because they didn't cook back in the day. We did the cooking, so you know what I'm saying. They didn't know. Listen,
that's all we gotta say. That's how you gotta go to the cookout. Yep. Just don't bring nothing. We got it.
And to be a real friend. And we have a section in our show called Real Friend Moment. We always try to end on a high note where, like, you're going back to you, Josh, like having real conversation with your friends. Like, listen, I may have to hurt your feelings about this, or I may have to check you on this, or hey, I need to check in because I'm struggling. So you have to be a real friend. That doesn't mean to be perfect. That doesn't mean any of that sense. Just a real friend means just authentic and honest and vulnerable, and have the capacity to hold your friend up and hold them down when they can't walk and when they can't carry themselves. Like, it's really about taking care. Love thy neighbor.
Because I mean, here's
You know
the
what I
thing.
mean?
Here's the thing. You're only ever going to do that with the people that you love.
Okay.
Like, you're only ever going to, because it's hard. It's hard to set somebody down and with the potential of hurting their feelings, which rocks the boat. And so if I didn't care, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't even spend the time because it's uncomfortable for me. I wouldn't put myself through that if I didn't care. I want to tell you something that bothers me, that it provides a challenge in our relationship.
Yeah.
And I'd like to talk about it.
Yeah. And it's me and you versus the problem, not me versus
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Like, it's us versus the thing that's happening.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know how to do that in, I mean, relationships, romantic ones, and just in friends group. Like, and that's a real relationship. And you have to be able to do that. And it's going to sting, but you may be mad at me for 3 days, but we're going to go to lunch on Friday and you're going to get over it.
And
we
try
gonna
to have
keep
the
it pushing.
conversation. Try to have the conversation without your feelings.
Oh, okay. And Dustin don't have no feelings, so I don't really have to worry much about that.
It's easy.
I'm the emotional one. He's like, oh, okay, great, cool, and just keep it pushing. But that's it, man.
But he's got
Just to
Brandy, so
okay, okay.
She's got all the emotions in her
Okay.
voice.
Nice.
He's got to love is the answer. Love yourself, because if you can't love yourself, you ain't gonna love
Who
me.
can you love?
Okay,
Come on.
and I'm not accepting anything less than the very best love that you got. Otherwise, you can go kick a box of rocks. So find yourself.
nice.
And I want our audience to love you guys, and I want them to check out My Two Black Friends. Comes out Black Friday, season 2.
Yo.
Where can we send the audience? What links can we put down for both of you and the show?
Oh man, where are we at? Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube because, like I said, we're super animated. So sometimes we'll be cracking up on stuff that we do physically and people just die. So yeah, follow us on Instagram, all those things.
Social media at My Two Black Friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
then
it's important.
ReSean.
It's important to notate that it's a 2, not the word
Yes.
2.
It's the number 2.
Yes, the
Thank you.
number 2. My
Thank you.
Two Black Friends. Yep.
Yes.
You know, and if y'all don't have no black friends, just start with us. We gonna help you out. We the 2.
We gonna be the
You know what
ones
I'm
for
saying?
you.
Some of y'all don't
we
have
even-
some, and y'all need some. So
Yeah.
why not start here?
We even have a cool theme song that you can sing to.
You know what I'm saying? It gets stuck in your head. Man, it gets stuck. Sometimes
Especially
I
the
wake
person
up
that
like,
edits
why
the
am I
show.
singing this? Okay.
It gets stuck in your head and you're like, I know our theme song.
Oh God, I'm like this again. Let me just get past this. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dustin. Thank you, ReSean, for taking the time out of your nights before all of our computers die. Thank you so much for being on the show, and we're looking forward
Thank
to
you for having
future
us, man.
collaborations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you for having us. And we can't wait to have you on the show.
Yes. Yes.
Can't wait for that. Thank you.
Wasn't that awesome? No, I'm just kidding.
No. You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Oh my God. Everybody, this is how Tom hears me. Wasn't
Yes.
that awesome? Wasn't that a great interview? I liked it.
Oakley
Not how I
dokley.
sound. And then to hear multiple hosts do the same exact thing as an impression of me. Thanks, everybody. I love you too. No, but that was a really wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, Tom, for introducing Dustin and ReSean to the Nerd On family, so to speak. Everybody at home, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Do please make sure to check out My Two Black Friends. Check out their website, their social media, and they're good people, and it's awesome to this Pottern family that we talk about to expand not the cooperation and embracing this. We're all one. I dig it. So if you're new to Nerd On, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Check out our website, nerdon.tv. It has all of the information on everything we do. We do a lot, from multiple podcasts to video content to streaming content. We do a lot. And so we would love it if you check that out. Stop by, rate and review us. That kind of stuff does help us. Share us with your friends, your family, all that good stuff.
Play us at your cookout.
Yes. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. We are everywhere, from Spotify to iTunes to iHeart. We're everywhere. So do subscribe. Check it out. And like I said at the top, do check out the Nerd On Nation. Consider joining that, as that does allow us to keep on creating content and keep being the best that we can be, and at high quality, because we that's what we want to do. We think that you as the audience deserve high quality content, and the Nerd On Nation helps us to achieve that. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. You know the drill. As always, Nerd On.
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.